Once upon a time, nestled between rolling hills and beneath a vast, starlit sky lay the moonlit forest, a realm untouched by the chaos of the world beyond. The forest was alive with enchantment, where ancient silver-barked trees stood tall and proud, their delicate leaves shimmering under the moon's gentle glow like rivers of molten light. The air carried the soft, crisp scent of pine mingled with blooming wildflowers, creating a tranquil haven that seemed to exist only in dreams. This was no ordinary forest. Here the animals thrived in harmony, their lives intertwined with the rhythm of nature. Deer with graceful strides moved silently through the underbrush, their dappled coats mirroring the moonlight filtering through the canopy above. Birds with iridescent plumage sang melodies so sweet they seemed to be an offering to the stars. Even the streams sparkled as if infused with fragments of the moon itself, their waters creating soft music as they tumbled over smooth stones. Overseeing this magical haven was the moon, a luminous guardian who bathed the forest in her silvery light. She watched over its creatures with a quiet love, ensuring that peace reigned beneath her gentle glow. The moonlit forest felt alive, not just with the scurrying of animals and rustling of leaves, but with a magic that pulsed through every root, branch, and stone. Among the creatures of the forest was a young owl named Ollie. Perched on the tallest tree in the heart of the forest, Ollie often gazed out over the treetops, his bright golden feathers catching the light like a beacon against the darkness. Ollie was unlike the other owls. While they hunted or slept, content with their simple routines, Ollie dreamed. His large, curious eyes often turned skyward, where he wondered about the world beyond the hills, beyond the forest, and beyond even the stars. His perch offered him the best view of the moonlit forest. From his lofty vantage point, he could see the silvery mist rolling over the forest floor, the faint glimmers of fireflies dancing like tiny stars, and the constellations stretching endlessly above. The stillness of the night stirred something deep within Ollie, a yearning for something more, a feeling that he was destined for adventure. "Do you think there's more out there?" he would sometimes ask the stars, his voice a soft whisper that drifted into the cool night air. Of course the stars never answered, but Ollie was certain they knew things he did not. He longed to discover the secrets they held. One particular evening, as the moon hung high in the velvet sky, and the forest glowed like a painting brought to life, Ollie perched on his favorite branch. A cool breeze tickled his feathers, carrying the scent of jasmine and pine. The world felt unusually still, as if it were holding its breath. The stars shone brighter than ever, casting faint shadows on the forest floor. Ollie gazed at them, his heart heavy with longing. But then, something unusual caught his eye. Deep within the forest, far beyond the familiar treetops, a flickering light appeared. At first, Ollie thought it might be fireflies. There were always clusters of them glowing like tiny lanterns in the dark. But this light was different. It wasn't golden like a firefly's glow or silver like the forest's natural shimmer. This light was warm and golden, like a small flame, and it danced in the distance as if calling out to him. "What is that?" Ollie murmured, his heart quickening with curiosity. He leaned forward, his talons gripping the branch tightly. The light flickered again, brighter this time, sending a strange thrill through him. The forest below seemed to darken as Ollie focused on the mysterious glow. It was as if the world beyond that light had suddenly disappeared, leaving only the promise of the unknown ahead. I have to see it," Ollie whispered to himself, his voice trembling with excitement and a twinge of fear. His wings quivered as he prepared to take flight. Leaping into the night, Ollie spread his wings and soared silently through the forest. The cool air rushed past him as he glided over ancient trees and sleeping animals. Below, a family of deer rested near a bubbling stream, their forms bathed in moonlight. A pair of squirrels curled up in their leafy nest, their tails entwined. Ollie felt a fleeting pang of guilt for leaving the familiar safety of his home, but his curiosity was stronger. As he flew closer to the light, the air around him began to change. It was charged with an energy he couldn't quite describe, as though the forest itself was holding its breath. The usual symphony of the night, chirping crickets, rustling leaves, the distant hoots of other owls, faded into an expectant hush. Ollie's heart raced. Each beat seemed to echo louder in his chest as the flickering light grew brighter and closer. His imagination ran wild with possibilities. Was it a fallen star? A magical lantern? Perhaps even a treasure guarded by some fantastical creature. When he finally reached the source of the light, Ollie gasped. In a small clearing surrounded by ancient trees, the light glowed from an object resting on a bed of soft moss. It was a crystal, no larger than his claw, but it pulsed with a golden light that seemed almost alive. Ollie landed on a low branch, his eyes wide with wonder. The crystal shimmered faintly, its glow rising and falling like a heartbeat. The light wasn't harsh or blinding. Instead, it felt warm and inviting, as though it were reaching out to him. "What is this?" Ollie whispered, his voice barely audible. He wanted to approach, but something about the crystal made him hesitate. It felt powerful, almost sacred, and Ollie wasn't sure if he should disturb it. As he pondered, a soft rustle broke the silence. Startled, Ollie turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows. It was a fox, her coat as white as freshly fallen snow and her eyes sparkling like the stars above. She moved gracefully into the clearing, her steps silent and deliberate. "Hello, little owl," the fox said, her voice calm and soothing. Ollie blinked in surprise, unsure of what to say. The fox regarded him with a gentle smile, her tail curling neatly around her paws as she sat near the glowing crystal. "I see you've found the Moonstone," she said, her tone warm and knowing. "The Moonstone," Ollie repeated, tilting his head. The fox nodded. "It's a gift from the moon, a piece of its heart. It holds a magic unlike any other one that can bring light to the darkest places and comfort to even the loneliest souls." Ollie's gaze shifted back to the crystal, now aware of its significance. The idea that this glowing object was a piece of the moon itself filled him with awe. "What's it doing here?" he asked. The fox's smile deepened. "The Moonstone has chosen this forest as its home. And tonight it seems it has chosen you." Me, Ollie blinked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," the fox said softly. "There's a light in you, little owl. A light that the Moonstone sees. It believes you have the courage to carry its magic." As Ollie stared at the crystal, his heart swelled with excitement and uncertainty. Was he truly ready for the adventure he had always dreamed of? With a deep breath, Ollie took his first step toward the Moonstone. The moonlit forest, a place of quiet beauty and ancient magic, stretched out beneath a sky full of stars. The silver trees shimmered gently in the moonlight, casting long shadows that danced like playful spirits across the forest floor. It was a night like any other, peaceful, calm, and full of wonder. Yet for Ollie, a young owl perched high atop the tallest tree, it felt different. His golden eyes, wide with curiosity, scanned the starlit canopy above, searching for something just beyond his reach. Ollie was like no other owl in the forest. While the others were content with their quiet lives hunting, resting and living under the careful watch of the moon, Ollie longed for more. He dreamed of adventures, of places unknown, of mysteries yet to be uncovered. From his perch, Ollie could see the entire forest laid out beneath him. The gentle sway of the silver trees, the soft whispers of the wind, the rustling of creatures beneath the underbrush. It was a beautiful sight, but to Ollie, it was also a reminder of the stillness he felt in his heart. His wings itched for flight. His spirit yearned for something greater. "I wonder what lies beyond the horizon," Ollie would often whisper to the moon, though he never expected an answer. But tonight, as he sat on his branch, something felt different. The air was charged with anticipation, the night unusually still, as though the world itself was holding its breath. Then, in the distance, something flickered. At first, Ollie thought it might be a trick of the wind, a glimmer of light reflecting off the dew-covered leaves, or perhaps a cluster of fireflies drifting lazily through the air. But as he focused his keen eyes on the flickering glow, he realized it wasn't any of those things. This light was different. It was warmer, softer, and golden. It flickered, not like the erratic dance of fireflies, but with purpose, as though it were calling out to him. "What is that?" Ollie whispered, his voice barely audible, filled with intrigue and excitement. His heart pounded in his chest as he leaned forward, his feathers ruffling with nervous energy. The light called to him like a distant melody, beckoning him to come closer. Without a second thought, Ollie spread his wings and dove into the night air, his body slicing through the cool breeze, his mind focused solely on the golden glow. As he flew deeper into the forest, the world around him seemed to grow quieter. The rustling of leaves, the distant calls of other creatures all faded into a hush. Ollie's breath quickened as he flew faster, propelled not just by his wings but by a deep, insatiable curiosity. The glow grew brighter the closer he got, and soon he was flying low over the moss-covered ground, his talons skimming the tops of the soft plants and wildflowers below. The scent of jasmine and pine mixed with the damp earth as Ollie navigated through the shadows of the trees. He passed familiar places: the ancient oak where the deer often grazed, the stream where the frogs sang their nightly songs, but none of it felt familiar now. His focus was entirely on the mysterious light that pulled him forward. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of flight, Ollie reached the clearing. The soft glow illuminated the space like the light of 1,000 fireflies, casting long shadows and giving the trees around the clearing an ethereal quality. In the center of the clearing lay a beautiful sight that took Ollie's breath away: a glowing crystal, resting delicately on a bed of soft moss. It shimmered with a golden light, pulsing gently as if alive. Ollie landed silently on a nearby branch, his heart racing with awe. The crystal's light felt warm, comforting, as though it was calling to him personally. He tilted his head, mesmerized by the glow, unsure whether to approach or stay back. But before he could make up his mind, a soft voice broke the silence. "Welcome, little owl." Ollie blinked in surprise and turned his head. From the shadows of the trees, a figure emerged, a fox, with a snowy white coat that shimmered like the moonlight itself. Her eyes sparkled like the stars, full of wisdom and warmth. She moved with an effortless grace, her presence calming and steady. "Who are you?" Ollie asked, his voice a mix of wonder and caution. The fox smiled kindly. "My name is Luna," she said softly, her voice like the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind. "I have been waiting for you." "Waiting for me?" Ollie repeated, his golden eyes wide with confusion. I've never seen you before." Luna's eyes softened with understanding. "I have watched over this forest for many moons, and I have sensed your longing, Ollie. Your heart is full of curiosity and wonder, and it is for that reason that the Moonstone has chosen you." "Moonstone?" Ollie echoed, his head tilting. "What is that?" Luna gestured toward the glowing crystal resting on the moss. "This," she said, "is the Moonstone. A gift from the moon itself. It has the power to bring light to dark places, to offer comfort in times of fear, and to guide those who seek a path when the way seems unclear. It has been in this forest for centuries, but tonight, it has chosen to give its light to you." Ollie's heart fluttered in his chest. "To me? But I'm just an owl. What can I do with such a powerful thing?" Luna's eyes sparkled with a knowing light. "You have a light inside you, Ollie. The Moonstone sees it. It has always been within you, waiting for the right moment to awaken. It is your courage, your curiosity, your willingness to step beyond the familiar and embrace the unknown. The Moonstone has recognized that light within you, and it has chosen you as its keeper." Ollie stepped closer to the crystal, feeling the warmth of its glow as it pulsed softly in rhythm with his heart. He hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do, but Luna's calm presence reassured him. "Do not be afraid, Ollie," she said gently. "The Moonstone's light will guide you, but you must choose to accept it. It will not force its way into your heart, it must be invited in." The air around Ollie seemed to thrum with energy, and the light from the crystal bathed the clearing in a soft, golden glow. Ollie's wings shivered with excitement, his feathers ruffling as he stepped forward. He could feel the warmth of the Moonstone's energy filling the air, surrounding him with a sense of peace and purpose. Taking a deep breath, Ollie stepped closer to the crystal, his talons reaching out toward it. As his fingers brushed the smooth surface, a wave of warmth surged through him, and for a brief moment, he felt as if he were connected to something much larger than himself. The moonlight above seemed to shine even brighter, and the world around him seemed to fade into the background as the Moonstone's power flowed into him. Luna watched quietly as Ollie absorbed the Moonstone's magic. "You have accepted the gift, Ollie," she said softly. "Now, the light you carry will guide you on your journey. The Moonstone has chosen you not just for your bravery, but for your heart. There is much you will face in the days to come, and the Moonstone will light your path." Ollie blinked, his heart racing with the weight of the moment. He had always longed for adventure, but this felt different. This was no ordinary journey, it was a calling, one that would change everything. "The Moonstone's power is now yours," Luna continued. "But remember, Ollie, with great power comes great responsibility. Use it wisely, and you will find that the world is full of light, even in the darkest of places." Ollie nodded, feeling the weight of the Moonstone's power settle inside him. He felt a sense of purpose he had never known before, as though the entire universe had just shifted to align with his destiny. "Thank you," Ollie whispered, his voice full of reverence. Luna smiled, her eyes filled with pride. "The journey ahead is yours, little one. Go, and let the Moonstone's light guide you to the unknown." With a final glance at the glowing crystal, Ollie spread his wings and took flight, his heart soaring with the excitement of the adventure that lay ahead. As he flew through the night, the Moonstone's light burned brightly within him, a beacon in the vast, dark forest. And so, Ollie's journey had begun. Ollie stared at the Moonstone in his talons, still uncertain why such a powerful artifact had chosen him. He had always felt different, a little restless compared to the other creatures in the forest, but to be chosen by something as ancient and magical as the Moonstone was something he could hardly wrap his mind around. He had always been curious, yes, but what had he done to deserve such an honor? The golden light of the crystal pulsed softly in his talons, and Ollie felt a warmth flow through him. It was gentle but undeniable, like a spark lighting a flame deep within his chest. The glow surrounded him, infusing him with a sense of calm and strength he had never experienced before. The world seemed to slow around him as he looked up at Luna, who watched him with kind eyes and an understanding smile. "Ollie, the Moonstone chose you because it sees your heart," Luna said, her voice soft and reassuring, as if she knew exactly what he was feeling. "It sees the courage you carry and the kindness you show to others. Those qualities are the key to the Moonstone's power. You have always had them, and now the Moonstone will help you share them with the world." Ollie took a deep breath, absorbing Luna's words. Her faith in him was steady and unwavering, and for the first time he began to feel that perhaps he was ready for something greater than himself. Maybe he wasn't just an ordinary owl after all. As he held the Moonstone in his talons, a sense of purpose stirred deep inside him, but just as quickly, that warmth began to fade. The light of the Moonstone dimmed, its golden glow flickering as if it were struggling to maintain its brilliance. Luna's expression shifted from gentle encouragement to quiet concern. "The Moonstone's light is powerful, but it is not meant to be kept hidden," she explained, her voice filled with urgency. "It fades when it is not shared with others. You must take it into the world, Ollie, and spread its glow to those who need it most." Ollie felt a surge of determination rush through him. His wings fluttered with excitement as he carefully tucked the crystal into the soft feathers of his chest. The moment it touched his heart, the crystal pulsed once again, its light growing brighter for just a moment before flickering once more. "What do I do?" Ollie asked, his voice now steady and full of resolve. "The forest is vast, Ollie. There are places and creatures who have lost their way, and it is in those dark corners that the Moonstone's light is needed most," Luna said, her gaze shifting to the trees that loomed around them. "The Moonstone has chosen you to be its bearer, its guide. You must journey through the forest, find those in need, and rekindle their light." A surge of excitement bubbled in Ollie's chest. This was it. This was the adventure he had always dreamed of. He had always wanted to see the world beyond his perch, and now he had a mission, a reason to venture into the forest's heart. Ollie nodded, determination shining in his eyes. "I will do it, Luna. I'll spread the light." Luna smiled, her snowy fur gleaming in the moonlight. "I know you will, Ollie. But remember, the light you carry is not just for others, it is for you as well. The Moonstone will show you the way, but only if you trust in yourself and in the magic that now flows through you." With those words, Ollie flapped his wings and took flight, the wind rushing through his feathers as he soared higher into the night sky. Below him, the moonlit forest stretched out like a sea of silver leaves, its trees glowing faintly in the soft light of the moon. The sound of the wind in his wings was the only noise, a constant rhythm that matched the pounding of his heart. The further Ollie flew, the more the forest seemed to come alive. The trees shimmered brighter with each flap of his wings, as though they were cheering him on. The stars above twinkled like tiny diamonds, winking at him in a way that felt almost as if the universe itself was smiling at him. But despite the beauty around him, Ollie couldn't shake the feeling that he was being tested. As much as he longed for adventure, there was something intimidating about the task ahead. He was carrying the Moonstone's light, yes, but how could he know where to share it? Where would he find those who needed it most? His flight path began to slow as he glanced around. Below him, the trees were still and silent, the forest deep and expansive. Ollie had seen these woods every day from his perch, but now they felt different. There was a weight to the silence, a stillness that made him feel small in comparison to the vastness of the forest. He needed to find someone or something to guide him, to help him understand where the Moonstone's light was needed. And then, just as the forest began to feel overwhelming, a small rustle caught his attention. Ollie turned his head, his wings spread wide as he coasted down toward the ground. He landed softly on a nearby branch, his sharp eyes scanning the shadows below. There, amidst the underbrush, he saw a small creature huddled beneath a bush. It was a rabbit, her fur dark with dampness, her ears drooping in exhaustion. The rabbit looked lost, frightened, and in need of help. Ollie's heart softened with compassion. This is it. This is why the Moonstone chose me. Without thinking, Ollie flew down and landed next to the rabbit, who startled at his presence. Her wide brown eyes met his, and for a moment, they just stared at each other in silence. "Are you okay?" Ollie asked gently, his voice calm and soothing. "You seem lost." The rabbit's ears twitched nervously, and she let out a small sigh. I'm not sure. I've been wandering for hours trying to find my way back home. But everything looks so different in the dark, and I'm scared," she admitted, her voice trembling. Ollie felt a tug at his heart. The Moonstone's light was faint, but as he looked at the rabbit, he felt a deep sense of purpose welling up inside him. He reached into his feathers and pulled the Moonstone close to his chest, allowing its warm glow to pulse softly, filling the air around him with a gentle light. The rabbit blinked in surprise as the light enveloped them both. The darkness of the forest seemed to retreat, and for the first time in what felt like hours, the rabbit breathed a sigh of relief. The forest no longer seemed so intimidating. The air around them felt warm and safe. "This light," the rabbit whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. "It feels like the sun has come out, even though it's night." Ollie smiled gently. "It's the Moonstone. It's a gift from the moon. It brings light to the darkest places, to those who need it most." The rabbit looked up at Ollie, her fear beginning to fade. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice filled with gratitude. "I was so scared, but now I feel like I can see again. I can find my way home." Ollie's heart swelled with pride. He had done it. He had shared the Moonstone's light, and in doing so, he had helped someone who truly needed it. The rabbit now looked at the forest with new eyes that weren't clouded with fear, but filled with the possibility of hope. "Follow me," Ollie said gently. "I'll make sure you find your way home." Together they traveled through the forest, the Moonstone's glow lighting their path. The journey was slow, but with every step, Ollie felt the weight of the crystal grow lighter. It was as if the Moonstone had found its purpose to spread light, to bring comfort, and to guide those who needed it most. And as Ollie guided the rabbit back to the safety of her burrow, the Moonstone's light burned brighter than ever. Ollie realized, with a heart full of wonder, that this was only the beginning of his journey. There were many more creatures in the forest, many more who needed the Moonstone's light. And as long as he carried it with courage and kindness, the light would never fade. The adventure had truly begun. Ollie's wings carried him through the forest with newfound purpose, the soft glow of the moonstone pulsing gently against his chest. The night air felt cooler now, but a warmth still radiated from the crystal, filling him with a sense of calm and determination. For the first time, Ollie felt truly connected to the moonlit forest, not as a curious outsider, but as a guardian of its light, a light that had now become his responsibility to protect and share. The path before him was wide and inviting, the trees parting like old friends greeting him. The silver trunks shimmered in the moonlight, casting shadows that seemed to dance in time with his wings. The forest was alive, but not in the way Ollie had known it. There was an energy here, a pulse that beckoned him deeper into its heart, guiding him to where the moonstone's glow was needed most. And then, ahead of him, Ollie spotted something strange, a flicker of light, but it wasn't like the warm glow of the moonstone. It was small, weak, and scattered. It wavered like a candle caught in a breeze, struggling to hold onto its flame. Curious, Ollie glided toward it, his wings cutting through the cool night air. As he neared, the glow became clearer, and he soon found himself hovering above a hollow log, where a family of fireflies huddled together. They looked fragile and defeated, their usual sparkle absent. Instead of the vibrant, twinkling dance of their tiny bodies, there was only darkness. Their wings sagged, and their antennae drooped as they sat clustered in the hollow log like a sad, dim constellation. "What's wrong?" Ollie asked softly, landing nearby so as not to startle them. His golden eyes shone with empathy as he studied the tiny creatures. One of the fireflies looked up at him, its wings fluttering weakly. "The wind. It blew out our glow," the firefly explained, its voice tinged with sadness. "Without it, we can't light our way home. We need our light to guide us through the dark." Ollie's heart ached at the sight of the helpless fireflies. He knew how important their glow was, not just to them but to the entire forest. It was their light that guided travelers in the night, helping them find their way. Without it they would be lost, just like the fireflies were now. Ollie looked down at the moonstone, still nestled in the soft feathers of his chest. Its light pulsed faintly, responding to his concern. He felt an undeniable sense of responsibility fill him, and without hesitation, he pressed the glowing crystal closer to the fireflies. The warmth of the moonstone seemed to spread through the air, and as it touched the fireflies, a soft hum filled the space around them. At first nothing happened, and Ollie wondered if he had done something wrong. But then, one by one, the fireflies began to stir. Their tiny bodies quivered, and a faint glow began to form around them. The light grew slowly at first, almost shyly, as if it had forgotten how to shine. But as the moonstone's warmth continued to fill the air, their lights grew brighter and brighter, until the entire log was filled with a soft, golden glow. The fireflies buzzed with joy, their wings fluttering with renewed energy. The once dim bodies now sparkled like little stars, their light brighter than it had been before. They danced in the air, their tiny bodies twinkling like a constellation come to life. "You did it. You brought our glow back," one of the fireflies exclaimed, its voice full of gratitude. "Thank you, Ollie. You saved us." Ollie felt a rush of warmth flood his chest, a feeling of pure happiness that spread through him like the gentle rays of dawn. He had done it. He had helped. The fireflies circled him, their tiny bodies lighting up the night in a dazzling display of light and movement. The air around them felt lighter, the forest itself brighter with their glow. Ollie smiled as he watched them, the joy of the moment filling him with a sense of fulfillment. He had made a difference, and it was a feeling unlike any he had known before. "You're welcome," Ollie said softly, his voice filled with quiet pride. "I'm happy I could help. Now you'll be able to find your way home." The fireflies buzzed excitedly around him, their lights flitting in every direction. "We'll never forget what you've done for us," Ollie, one of the fireflies, said. "We'll spread your light wherever we go." With that, the fireflies began to fly off, their glow lighting up the darkness like a constellation of stars scattered across the sky. Ollie watched them go, his heart soaring with happiness. He had given them what they needed: hope, light, and the ability to find their way home. As they disappeared into the night, Ollie felt a renewed sense of purpose fill him. This was why the Moonstone had chosen him, not just to carry its light, but to share it with those in need, to bring warmth to the dark places, to help those who had lost their way. Encouraged by the firefly's happiness, Ollie turned and spread his wings. The forest seemed to open before him, as if it were inviting him deeper into its heart, to where his light could reach further still. There were more creatures out there, more who needed the Moonstone's glow, more who were waiting for someone to guide them. With a mixture of excitement and determination, Ollie flew deeper into the forest. His heart beat in time with the soft pulse of the Moonstone, and as he soared through the trees, he felt more alive than ever. The forest no longer seemed like a quiet, peaceful place. It was an adventure, a journey waiting to unfold, and Ollie was ready. The wind ruffled his feathers as he flew over the treetops, the stars twinkling above him like a trail of breadcrumbs leading him toward the unknown. The world was vast, but with the Moonstone's light and his newfound sense of purpose, Ollie felt that there was nothing he couldn't face. As he traveled deeper into the forest, the shadows grew thicker and the air cooler. Yet Ollie's heart remained warm with the light of the Moonstone, and he knew that his journey was just beginning. Every creature he helped, every life he touched, would add to the light that burned brightly within him. With each flap of his wings, Ollie grew more confident in his mission. He was not just an owl with a curious heart anymore. He was a bearer of light, a guide in the dark, and the Moonstone's chosen keeper. And he would not rest until every corner of the moonlit forest was filled with the warmth and brilliance of the light he carried. The adventure, Ollie knew, had only just begun. Ollie flew deeper into the forest, his wings slicing through the cool air as the night stretched out before him. The Moonstone's glow flickered gently against his chest, casting a warm light that wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. His heart felt full of purpose, each beat in time with the gentle pulse of the crystal. The journey had already begun to shape him into something different, something greater. He had helped the fireflies find their light, rekindling their hope and their place in the night sky. And now, as Ollie soared through the darkened woods, he felt the weight of the Moonstone's power growing stronger, urging him forward, urging him to continue sharing its glow. There were more lives to touch, more hearts to heal, and Ollie knew he was just getting started. As the trees thinned and the canopy opened up, Ollie saw a small clearing ahead. The soft moonlight illuminated the space, casting an ethereal glow across the area. Below him, a small pond shimmered like a mirror reflecting the stars above. It was peaceful here, silent except for the occasional ripple of water as the wind gently whispered through the trees. Ollie landed softly on a nearby branch and scanned the pond below. There, sitting alone on a lily pad in the middle of the water, was a small frog. His green skin glowed faintly under the moon's light, but there was an emptiness in his posture. His shoulders were slumped, and his large, round eyes stared out into the stillness of the water, seemingly lost in his own thoughts. Ollie's heart softened as he watched the frog, his spirit immediately sensing the creature's loneliness. It was a feeling Ollie knew well. He had often watched the other animals with their families and friends, wishing he could be a part of something larger than himself. He understood what it felt like to long for connection. With a gentle flutter of his wings, Ollie glided down to the water's edge. His talons made soft contact with the moss, and the frog's head snapped up, startled by the sudden sound. "Why are you sad?" Ollie asked, his voice gentle and warm. He perched on a nearby branch, keeping his distance but offering a comforting presence. The frog blinked slowly, as though he hadn't realized someone was watching. Then, with a deep sigh, he answered. "I feel invisible," he said, his voice soft and tinged with sadness. "No one ever notices me in the dark. The other animals have their families, their places in the forest, but here I am, alone. I don't even shine like the fireflies or the stars. I'm just here." Ollie's heart clenched at the frog's words. He understood the feeling of being overlooked, of not fitting in, but he also knew how powerful the Moonstone's light was. Perhaps, just perhaps, it could help the frog see himself the way the Moonstone saw him, not as invisible, but as something special, something worth noticing. "I don't think you're invisible at all," Ollie said softly. "But maybe I can help you see the light that's always been inside of you." The frog lifted his eyes to meet Ollie's, a flicker of hope in his gaze. "You can help me?" he asked, his voice hesitant but curious. Ollie nodded, his wings fluttering with quiet excitement. He reached down and gently took the Moonstone from his chest, holding it carefully in his talons. The crystal pulsed with a gentle warmth, responding to Ollie's touch, as if it too knew the frog needed its magic. Ollie hovered above the pond, watching the water beneath him shimmer in the crystal's soft light. He held the stone near the frog, careful not to overwhelm him, but wanting to share just enough of its glow to help him see. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The frog blinked up at the Moonstone, unsure of what was coming next. But as the crystal's light touched the surface of the water, something incredible began to happen. The Moonstone's soft glow reflected off the pond, sending ripples of light across the water's surface. Each ripple shimmered and spread, like stars dancing across the pond. The darkness around the frog seemed to fade, replaced by a gentle glow that illuminated the entire clearing. The lily pad, once an isolated speck of green in the water, now gleamed like a beacon in the night. The frog's skin reflected the light, becoming radiant and beautiful, his once muted green color transformed into a shimmering emerald hue. For the first time, the frog looked at himself in the water's reflection, his eyes wide with surprise. He could see the glow of his own skin, the way the light danced off of him. He wasn't invisible at all. In fact, he was more beautiful than he had ever realized, like a jewel in the moonlit night. The frog blinked, and a small, shy smile tugged at the corners of his lips. I didn't know I could shine like this," he whispered, his voice filled with wonder. Ollie hovered nearby, watching the transformation with a heart full of joy. "You've always had this light inside of you," he said gently. "It's just sometimes we forget to see it. The darkness can make us feel small and unimportant, but the truth is, we all have something beautiful within us." The frog gazed at the water, mesmerized by the reflection of his own glowing form. He croaked in a voice filled with happiness, the first true sound of joy Ollie had heard from him. "Thank you, Ollie," the frog said, his voice now filled with a newfound confidence. "I've never seen myself like this before. I was so sure I was just forgotten. But now I know I matter. I can shine too." Ollie's heart swelled with pride. He had given the frog more than just light, he had given him the gift of seeing his own worth. The Moonstone's light had worked wonders, but it was the frog's own potential that had been illuminated. Ollie realized that the Moonstone didn't just give light to the world, it helped others find the light within themselves. "You've always mattered," Ollie said with a smile. "You just needed a little reminder." The frog's eyes shone as he looked up at Ollie, his spirit lifted by the warmth and kindness the owl had shown him. "I'll never forget this," he said, his voice full of gratitude. "You've made me realize that I'm part of the forest too, and I don't have to be afraid of being alone anymore." Ollie nodded, his wings fluttering with contentment. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that the Moonstone's light had helped another soul find their place in the world. The frog no longer felt invisible, he had become a shining beacon in the night, his glow spreading across the pond like a constellation come to life. "I'm happy for you," Ollie said. "The forest is brighter with you in it." The frog gave a grateful croak, his light now shining brilliantly in the darkened clearing. "Thank you, Ollie. I'm going to share this light with others. I'll never forget what you did for me." Ollie smiled, his heart lighter than ever before. He had made a difference, and it was a difference that would continue to ripple through the forest, just like the light on the pond. As the frog hopped from his lily pad and swam gracefully across the water, Ollie took a moment to savor the beauty of the night. With the Moonstone's glow lighting the way, Ollie knew he was on the right path. The adventure had only just begun, and with each life he touched, the forest would become a little brighter, a little more connected. Ollie's mission was far from over, but as he soared into the sky once more, his heart was filled with a new sense of hope. There was magic in the world, and it wasn't just in the Moonstone, it was in every creature who carried their own light. And Ollie, with his courage and kindness, would help them all find it. As Ollie continued his journey through the moonlit forest, the feeling of the Moonstone's glow grew stronger and more powerful with each passing moment. It was as if the crystal itself recognized the warmth and kindness Ollie was spreading to the creatures of the forest. The glow had become steadier now, no longer just a faint flicker in the night, but a constant, calming light that filled the air around him. Ollie could feel it humming softly in his chest, guiding him like a heartbeat, steady and full of life. It wasn't just the forest that had been illuminated by the Moonstone's light, it was the hearts of the creatures who had felt its touch. Every life Ollie had encountered had been touched by that gentle, glowing energy, from the fireflies who had regained their sparkle to the lonely frog who had found his worth reflected in the water. Each moment had been a small, quiet miracle, a reminder that even in the darkest of nights, there was always light to be found if one knew where to look. Ollie had always known the moonlit forest was special, but now, as the forest itself seemed to glow with a quiet radiance, he understood something much deeper. The forest was not just a place of magic, it was a place of connection. The creatures of the forest, no matter how small or overlooked, were all part of a greater whole. They shared the same light, the same air, the same stars above them, and it was this shared connection that made the forest such a magical place. As Ollie glided through the trees, the soft whisper of the wind brushing against his feathers, he couldn't help but feel a growing sense of fulfillment. He had helped so many creatures, each one touched by the light he carried. And though the journey had been challenging at times, each step had brought him closer to the heart of the forest and to the heart of his own purpose. The Moonstone had chosen him for a reason, and that reason was becoming clearer with every life he touched. After helping a family of hedgehogs find their way to safety, guiding a lost bat back to its cave, and even calming a frightened deer with the gentle glow of the Moonstone, Ollie knew it was time to return. He had been away from the clearing for a while now, and Luna, the wise fox, had been waiting for him. Ollie could feel her presence, like a steadying force in the distance, and he knew it was time to return to the place where his journey had begun. With the Moonstone's warm glow lighting his way, Ollie flew through the night, the stars above him twinkling in harmony with the crystal's light. As he approached the clearing, he saw Luna waiting, her snowy coat glowing softly under the moonlight. She was perched on a large rock near the mossy resting place where the Moonstone had been placed when Ollie had first found it. Ollie landed gracefully beside her, his wings folding neatly at his sides. The glow of the Moonstone, now brighter than ever, pulsed gently in his chest, filling him with a sense of peace he had never known before. The forest around him seemed to glow in response, as if it were welcoming him home. Luna turned to him, her sparkling eyes shining with pride. "You've done well, little owl," she said softly, her voice full of warmth. "The Moonstone's light shines brightest when it is shared. You've brought light not only to the forest but also to the hearts of its creatures." Ollie looked down at the Moonstone, now nestled in his talons. He could feel its power, its warmth, and its gentle pulse. It was no longer a flickering light, struggling to find its way. It had become a steady, radiant beacon. The light had filled the forest, and Ollie had become more than just a bearer of the Moonstone's glow. He had become a part of the forest itself, its heartbeat, its guiding light. He felt a deep sense of peace as he placed the Moonstone back on its mossy resting place, the familiar spot where it had first been found. The moss beneath it seemed to glow with the same gentle light that the crystal now radiated, and the entire clearing seemed to breathe in unison with the pulse of the Moonstone. Luna watched quietly as Ollie gently set the crystal down, her expression one of quiet approval. "You have learned the true power of the Moonstone," she said, her voice a soft echo in the stillness of the night. "It is not in the brightness of its glow but in how it touches the lives of those around it. You have shown the forest what it means to share light, to help others find their way, and in doing so, you have made the forest even more beautiful than before." Ollie felt a wave of emotion wash over him. The journey had been long, and at times it had felt as though he was just a small owl in a vast, magical forest. But now, standing in the clearing with Luna, he understood the true meaning of his mission. It wasn't about being the brightest, the fastest, or the most powerful. It was about spreading light, love, and kindness wherever it was needed. And in doing so, Ollie had made the world around him brighter than he could have ever imagined. The forest around them seemed to shimmer in the moonlight, the trees glowing softly, the stars above twinkling like 1,000 watchful eyes. It was as if the forest itself had become a reflection of the light Ollie had shared, steadier, brighter, and full of hope. Luna nodded in approval, her eyes twinkling like the stars above. "The Moonstone's light is always with you, Ollie. It is in your heart, and it will continue to shine through you, as long as you choose to share it. You've done something incredible, something truly remarkable. The forest will forever be grateful to you. Ollie felt a rush of warmth spread through him, a deep sense of fulfillment that filled every corner of his being. He had done it. He had helped the creatures of the forest, shared the Moonstone's light, and in doing so, had learned the true meaning of what it meant to be part of something greater. The light wasn't just in the Moonstone, it was in every living creature, every act of kindness, and every moment of connection. He turned to Luna, his heart full of gratitude. Thank you, Luna. I couldn't have done this without your guidance. Luna smiled warmly, her eyes sparkling with pride. You had it within you all along, Ollie. The Moonstone chose you because it saw your heart, your kindness, and your courage. And that, my dear friend, is the greatest light of all. As Ollie sat next to the Moonstone, its glow casting a soft, steady light around them, he felt a deep sense of peace settle in his heart. He had fulfilled his mission, but he knew that the journey didn't end here. The Moonstone's light would continue to guide him, just as it would continue to guide the creatures of the forest. It was a light that could never be extinguished, because it lived in the hearts of those who chose to share it. And so Ollie, the little owl who had once dreamed of adventure beyond the treetops, knew that his true adventure was just beginning. The moonlit forest, with its shimmering trees and starlit sky, was his home, and he would carry its light for as long as the moon itself shone above. With Luna by his side and the Moonstone's glow at his chest, Ollie was ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that with every flap of his wings, he carried with him the power to bring light to the darkest corners of the world. The cool night air that had carried Ollie through the forest now began to shift. The gentle hum of the Moonstone's light still lingered in the air, a soft, comforting presence that seemed to wrap the forest in a blanket of peace. Ollie, with his wings tucked neatly by his sides, soared through the sky one last time for the night. The forest beneath him sparkled, a living tapestry of light and shadow woven together under the watchful gaze of the moon. The creatures of the forest had all found their light, their place, and now, so had Ollie. His mission was complete, and the Moonstone's steady glow had grown so bright it seemed as though the forest itself was glowing, alive with the energy of all the kindness Ollie had shared. But even as he felt the satisfaction of his task, Ollie knew there was something else, something deeper that this journey had given him. It wasn't just the glow of the Moonstone, but the glow of his own heart, shining brighter than ever before. As the first streaks of dawn began to stretch across the horizon, Ollie felt a strange pull to return home. The sky, once a deep velvet blue, was now softening with hues of lavender and gold. The stars were slowly fading, their twinkling lights giving way to the golden sun rising on the horizon. The night, which had seemed so full of mystery and wonder, was slipping away, making space for the warmth of the day. And in that quiet, transitioning moment, Ollie knew it was time to return to the treetops, the place where his journey had begun. With a soft beat of his wings, Ollie turned towards his treetop home, a cozy little nook nestled in the highest branches of a sturdy oak tree. The branches swayed gently in the breeze, their leaves rustling in a comforting rhythm. The soft whispers of the forest felt like a lullaby, carrying Ollie back to where he belonged. As he approached his home, Ollie felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The Moonstone's light had been shared with the forest, its glow now a part of every creature it had touched. He had helped the fireflies find their sparkle, guided the frog to see his own beauty, and shared the light of the Moonstone with those who needed it most. The forest was brighter now, not just in the way it shone under the moonlight, but in the way its creatures now glowed from the inside out, their hearts full of hope, connection, and understanding. Ollie alighted on the edge of his nest, a small, soft bundle of leaves and feathers nestled in the branches. The quiet of the dawn wrapped itself around him like a familiar blanket. He fluffed his feathers and settled in, feeling the warmth of the nest beneath him, the stillness of the morning, and the gentle glow that seemed to hum from deep within his chest. The Moonstone's light had become a part of him now, as much a part of his being as the stars in the sky. He had carried its light through the night, shared it with others, and now, as the sun began to rise, he knew it was time for rest. As Ollie tucked himself into the soft embrace of his nest, his mind swirled with thoughts of everything he had learned. His heart felt full not from the thrill of adventure or the satisfaction of completing a task, but from the quiet joy of knowing he had made a difference. In helping others, Ollie had found something even more precious than the Moonstone's glow. He had found the warmth of connection, the magic of kindness, and the peace that came from knowing that each small act of love and light could change the world. Ollie's eyelids grew heavy, the sounds of the waking forest around him lulling him into a peaceful slumber. The first rays of sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting a warm, golden light over the forest. The birds began their early morning songs, their melodies carrying through the air, while the soft rustle of the leaves spoke of the new day beginning. The world outside was awakening, but for Ollie it was time to rest, to reflect, and to dream. But what did he dream of? Not of faraway adventures, not of the grand quests and mysteries he had once longed for, but something much simpler. He dreamed of the creatures he had helped, the grateful fireflies, the joyful frog, the wise Luna, and the countless others who had found light and hope through the Moonstone. Ollie dreamed of their smiles, their shining eyes, and the way the forest had glowed when they had all come together, sharing in the magic of kindness and light. He dreamed of the forest itself, a place now alive with the glow of shared warmth and love. The trees seemed to sway more rhythmically, the stars twinkled a little brighter, and the moon above, though it had been hidden behind the horizon, still watched over them, a steady presence in the sky. And as he dreamed, Ollie felt something shift deep within him. He wasn't just an owl anymore, he was a part of something greater, something magical, something eternal. The forest wasn't just his home, it was his family. The creatures who lived in it, from the smallest ant to the tallest tree, were all connected, all sharing in the same light, the same magic, the same love. Ollie's heart swelled with a deep, contented peace. His journey had taken him far, and though the task of carrying the Moonstone's light had come to an end, the true journey was just beginning. The world would continue to need light, and Ollie now understood that he, too, could be a bearer of that light. He didn't need to fly far or seek out grand adventures to find it. It was in every small act of kindness, in every shared smile, and in every moment of connection. That was where the true magic lay, within the hearts of those who chose to share their light. As the sun rose higher, casting a soft golden glow over the moonlit forest, Ollie's dreams carried him deeper into the comfort of his nest. The soft rustle of the leaves above him became a lullaby, the sounds of the forest a peaceful symphony that soothed his soul. Under the moon's watchful eye, and now the sun's gentle gaze, the forest continued to glow, a symbol of the power of kindness, of sharing, and of love. And Ollie, the little owl who had once dreamed of adventures far away, now found his greatest adventure was not in the distant horizon, but in the hearts of those around him. Under the starlit sky and the dawning sun, the forest would forever glow bright, peaceful, and full of hope. And so, as the sun began to rise over the horizon, casting a golden light over the moonlit forest, Ollie nestled deeper into his cozy nest. The forest around him, once dark and mysterious, now gleamed with the brilliance of shared love and warmth. The moonstone's glow, though faint in the daylight, still pulsed softly from its resting place beneath the canopy. It had been recharged by the kindness and hope Ollie had spread throughout the forest, and now it remained a permanent symbol of the magic that resided in the hearts of those who cared for each other. The moonlit forest had flourished under the light of the moonstone, but it wasn't just the trees, the creatures, or the stars that had changed. Something deeper had transformed. An invisible thread that bound the creatures of the forest together had strengthened, woven with compassion and kindness, lighting up the lives of everyone who had been touched by the moonstone's magic. From the tiniest insect to the grandest of the towering trees, every living thing in the forest now carried with it a piece of the light Ollie had shared. The fireflies, their wings now aglow with the vibrant glow of their own light, danced joyfully through the branches, their laughter mingling with the cool breeze that whispered through the leaves. The frog, once lonely and hidden in the shadows, hopped along the banks of the pond with newfound pride, his croaks now echoing happily through the night. The bat, who had once been frightened by the darkness, now swooped through the air confidently, his wings slicing through the moonlit sky like a shadow of grace. The moonstone had ignited something within them all, an understanding that no one in the forest was ever truly alone. They had each other, and they had the light that could never be extinguished, the light of compassion, of kindness, of shared purpose. The forest thrived in ways it never had before. The trees seemed to reach toward the sky with newfound vigor, their silver leaves shimmering with a renewed brilliance. The flowers, once closed in the cool darkness of the night, now bloomed wide, their petals unfolding with the dawn as though they, too, had received a share of the moonstone's glow. The air felt fresher, the ground richer, and the stars, though still distant, twinkled with an intensity that spoke of ancient wisdom that had been passed down for generations, whispered through the rustling of the leaves. It was as though the forest itself had come to life, filled with purpose and peace. The moonstone, once merely a gift, had become the heart of the forest, a symbol of the love that bound everything together. And Ollie, the small owl who had been chosen to carry its light, had become not just a guardian of the forest but its guiding spirit. The light he had shared had transformed him as well. He was no longer just the curious owl perched high in the trees, dreaming of faraway lands. He was part of something larger, a living, breathing force of connection, love, and warmth. Ollie's dreams, now filled with peace and contentment, had become quieter, less about grand adventures and more about the quiet, daily moments of joy that filled the lives of the creatures of the forest. His nights were no longer filled with the restless hunger for something more, for adventure beyond the treetops. Instead, his dreams had become a tapestry of the forest itself, a dream of connection, of shared light, of the calm and peace that could be found in the most ordinary of moments. He dreamed of the fireflies twinkling in the night, their tiny lights a soft symphony of warmth. He dreamed of the frog, hopping joyfully along the pond, his once dim skin now glowing in the moonlight, reflecting his newfound sense of belonging. He dreamed of the bat, soaring high through the starry sky, his wings outstretched in full confidence, and in his dreams Ollie could feel the gentle pulse of the Moonstone, a steady rhythm that matched the beat of his heart, connecting him to everything around him. As the moon's silver light began to fade with the coming of dawn, Ollie stirred from his dreams, his heart light and content. The sun, now fully risen, cast a warm glow over the forest, and the light of the Moonstone seemed to shift with it, still glowing faintly, but no longer needing to shine as brightly as it had before. The creatures of the forest no longer needed the Moonstone to guide them. They had found their own light within, and now they carried it with them, shared it, spread it throughout the land. Ollie fluttered to the edge of his nest, his wings spread wide as he took in the scene below. The forest was waking up, the creatures stretching and greeting the new day. The soft rustling of the trees, the chirping of the birds, the gentle whisper of the wind, it was all a symphony of life, of love, and of belonging. He watched as the animals, once so isolated, now moved together in harmony, their hearts bound by the shared glow of the Moonstone's magic. With a soft flap of his wings, Ollie lifted into the air, soaring high above the treetops. He could feel the warmth of the sun on his feathers, the coolness of the wind beneath him, and the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. It was a rhythm that matched the pulse of the Moonstone, still glowing softly in the clearing below. Ollie knew that as long as he carried its light within him, he would always have a place in the moonlit forest. The forest, he realized, was never truly dark. Even in the deepest of nights, when the sky seemed vast and empty, the light of the Moonstone shone brightly, because it wasn't just the glow of a crystal that illuminated the world, it was the light of every living thing that had shared its kindness, its love, and its warmth. With that realization, Ollie felt a sense of deep peace settle over him. His heart, once filled with longing for distant adventures, was now full of gratitude for the life he had found in the forest. The greatest adventure was not in seeking out the unknown, but in sharing the light that lived within him with those around him. And so, the moonlit forest continued to thrive. The trees stood tall, their silver leaves shimmering with the light of shared love. The creatures, their hearts glowing with kindness and connection, moved through the forest in harmony. And Ollie, the little owl who had once dreamed of distant lands, now found his greatest joy in the simple, quiet magic of helping others, in the shared glow of the Moonstone, and in the knowledge that his love and light would forever be a part of the forest he called home. Sweet dreams, little dreamer. May your heart be as warm as the Moonstone's glow. May your kindness shine through the darkest of nights, and may you always find the light within to share with the world around you. The moonlit forest will always be there, whispering its stories of love and connection, waiting for the moment when you too will find your place within its glowing embrace.